So we have our first instance of COVID postponement. The Leafs will not play the Calgary Flames this week due to the Flames having COVID issues. It's going to be a bit of an interesting trip now. Like they're going out to Edmonton, and then they got to kind of wait around now to go and play Vancouver and Seattle. And I wanted to, like, that kind of is what it is, but I wanted to use that as sort of a segue to, like, start this episode by not talking about the Leafs specifically. And I want to talk a little bit about the Olympics. I have never done a 180 on something in my life quite like the NHL players going to the Olympics. If you talked to me a few weeks ago, I was stoked. I was ready. I was into the roster construction. I was like, for 2 weeks, the Talkin' Buds podcast is going to be about Team Canada, and we'll talk about the games and the team and whatever. Now, don't send them. Don't send them. Like, when you look at, like, the intense quarantine rules that will be in place for all the Olympic athletes in China, could you imagine if Auston Matthews or Jack Campbell goes over there, tests positive for COVID, has to quarantine for 3 weeks, and then we just don't see them again?
That's a disaster.
That's a disaster.
And like, just from the NHL perspective, just games getting postponed. Like, you have to make up those games somewhere, and there's a 2 week or 2.5 week, however long it is, block that is gone because of the Olympics. And why is the NHL okay with the players going to the Olympics this year?
Because the players,
and they want to grow the game in China,
Yeah.
the untapped market,
yes,
of the biggest market that all sports want to get into. So maybe they were just like, you know what, we're going to send them. Let's send them to a place where our best players are going to be able to showcase their skills. And this is what you get when you watch NHL hockey. But now it's like, it's becoming more unrealistic as each day goes by, and the conversation keeps getting brought up by prominent people who know a lot in the hockey world. So, and you have players already coming out being like, I'm not that stoked.
No,
So,
I wouldn't be. There's too much. Like, I understand that it's emotional for these guys, and getting the chance to not only go and, like, play for your country, but to be an Olympic athlete and go and experience what that's like.
It's like going to play a hockey.
It's like really
it's
exciting.
Like an NHL player's hockey tournament.
Yeah.
You get to go play in a hockey tournament against all the best players in the world, the same guys you play every night, but you play for your country, and it's just like a cool experience. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that?
Yeah.
I totally get it.
Yeah. So, but it's a little sketchy, and if I wasn't, like, the owners take a great deal of crap, rightly so. But if I was an owner, I'd be like, no, Auston Matthews, I'm paying you $12 million. I really don't want you out of commission for a week or two because you went over and tested positive for COVID.
Well, who knows what their situation would be at the Olympics. I know people or athletes who are in, like, I don't want to make this sound demeaning or anything, but athletes that are specific to, like, Olympic specific sports aren't exactly making 12 schmil a year.
Yes.
So when Auston Matthews goes over to China to play in the Olympics, what is his situation? Where is he staying? How many people is he in contact with?
Well, you got to think he'd be staying in the Olympic Village with the rest of Team USA.
Yeah, but these are the types, if they're going to go, then these are the type of things that they have to figure out and get under control, because that's the only way you can control it to a certain degree is you go here, you go to the rink, and then you go back here, and that is it. And you get to interact with your teammates. They're all together. But other than that, there's no interacting with anybody else. Like, that's the type of situation it would have to be to, like, totally avoid a awful situation.
I was listening to the radio today, and they were saying if it were to get canceled, then like they would essentially get a 2-week break because they don't have the building availability to like sort of rejig the schedule.
Yeah.
Does a 2-week break sound that if you're an NHL player and you've been grinding through the first part of this season, it's been like a race here. They're playing every other night pretty much.
Oh, the Leafs scheduled they played 5 more games than the Bruins.
Wouldn't you be like 2 weeks off?
Oh
yeah, it is goat.
I'm coming up on 2 weeks off soon, and I'm excited.
Will be 3 weeks off. Well, it would be a total of 3 weeks off, but you'd probably have them back a week prior and do like a mini camp, basically.
Then why are people having conversations about them canceling the Olympics because of games being missed?
I don't know.
Like that's kind of an area of conversation that I've heard. It's they can't make up these games in late April or May or whatever they have pushed back. So they would take that time to play the games. But if what you said is true, then
they don't have the building availability. These buildings are like they have concerts, they have NBA games.
Maybe
they
that's
have all
not
kinds
like
of stuff.
The case for like how many there's no NBA team in Calgary. Like
so I don't know. Like I mean that's speculation. All this is to say I think we're reaching a point where I don't think they're going. And I think there's just too much at stake and like
selfishly, like we want to watch it.
Yes,
100%. But
I don't know. Like I was with some people on the weekend and we were talking about Team Canada's roster. Team Canada's goaltending situation is not what it was in 2002, 2010, and 2004. I mean 2014.
I mean,
who's your starting goalie? Like, I want to talk about the Leafs here, but like, who's your starting goalie for Team Canada?
Carey Price has to be your starting goalie until he proves he can't. I don't care how much time he's missed.
Like, who comes after them though?
We saw what Carey Price did to the Maple Leafs in the playoffs last season.
Yes.
Like, in what he did in 2014, winning gold there. So like, that's your starter.
Yeah.
I know he's had an awful history, especially on international stages and in NHL playoffs, but I would have to consider Marc-Andre Fleury.
I don't think he's had. Guys won 2 cups.
He won 1 cup being the guy, and then the other two like Matt Murray played.
Well, he made it to the final with Vegas.
Yeah.
So
and then he carried, but then last year he had that awful goal against the Habs that turned around the whole series. In the World Juniors, he threw the puck off the guy's back into the net. Like he's got some choke in him.
He's got some demons.
Yeah.
He's got some international hockey
Jordan
demons.
Bennington. Like
like Carter Hart.
I can't even stop a puck in Philly.
I know.
Like,
I know. All right, let's talk about the Leafs.
Yeah, they suck.
They don't.
I know.
Like
I'm just reading what I read on Twitter, so
I would say
I gotta believe everything I read.
Listen. When they were on that epic run and dummying everybody, like we all knew that like they were playing.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like there weren't. It's the answer is somewhere in the middle. They're not as terrible as they started the season, but they're not as unstoppable as they looked a month ago.
No, this is a perfect test for the fan base and the team. They go on an unbelievable run where they give up limited goals. It was phenomenal to watch. And then now they're starting to slip back into turnover land, odd man rushes.
Oh my God.
Giving up rushes. 4 goals a game. Getting a little sleepy.
No. You know what I heard against Chicago the other night? It took us just under 2 months in the season to hear it. Killer instinct. Yeah. We lacked the killer instinct. And we built up a lead against the Blackhawks and then just couldn't put them away.
Yeah, and that's what they were doing on that run. But like you said, they're getting pulled back in to the things that have hurt them in the past. And this is a great test for them because you can this is the demon you're facing. The way you've played, like they really played 3 off. Like they lost to Minnesota. They battled hard, came back. They lost to Winnipeg, hard fought battle. That game against Columbus was arguably one of the worst hockey games I've ever watched in my entire life. Squeaked out a win. Played Tampa.
Played okay. Played pretty good.
I thought their forward group was okay. The bottom 6 was an absolute embarrassment. Yeah. And then against Chicago, I thought they were awful.
Yeah.
But they go 2-1 in those 3 awful games they've played. So they showed the ability they can still win a game, squeak out a win, but this is the test. Like, you have to figure out how to eliminate this. You've already shown so much promise, probably more promise than they've ever shown during that run with the goaltending, the defensive play, everything else, the power play starting to click. But now it's coming back, and you have to find a way to eliminate that. Sheldon Keefe has to find a way to get them motivated to eliminate that. Know that it's going on and find a way to eliminate it, or else it's just going to be the same story over and over and over again. And then people are going to call us idiots, and I'm going to go on Twitter and see how much this team sucks and hear every other Canadian fan base. And
a couple things I wanna flag. First and foremost is Petr Mrazek. He didn't start the game all that well against Chicago.
That was, I don't think I've ever been more, like, sometimes you're just like, oh, it's early. Like, you know, he's come back from an injury. We'll give him one. I saw that. I was like, oh my God.
But
he gets beat clean on like the most basic, like, it was like Taves hasn't scored in a million years, and he comes down and takes a little dinky wrist shot. It scoots right by him. It's like,
but I thought he battled.
No, yeah,
his defense left him out to dry, as you pointed out. So many quality scoring chances. I thought he played okay. And I'm at a point with Petr Mrazek where it's like, get this guy in there. Like, get him in there, get him playing.
Yeah.
Because if you watch Jack Campbell against the Tampa Bay Lightning, was he bad? No, he wasn't. Did he look like all-world Vezina Jack Campbell in that game? No. Also, no. And he's coming off taking a flying knee to the head by Marcus Foligno. I think he's played way, way, way too much hockey. And so, Petr Mrazek, get in there, work out the kinks, figure it out. You got to go on a run here. Like they're gonna start Campbell against the Oilers because it's the Oilers.
Yeah.
So whatever. But like, get Mrazek in there against Vancouver. Get him in there against Seattle. I don't care. Like, put him in there.
The first goal had me worried, but he made some great saves after that. And some of the goals he let in, like, maybe positionally could be a little bit better, but he was getting screened, and it's like you can't excuse the way they played the other night. I know they won the game because they got up early, and I was happy to see that the guys who were supposed to score scored, but they turned the puck over like 20 times in that game. Like, awful.
Mrazek and Campbell are polar opposites when it comes to how they play the position. Campbell is steady as she goes type guy, and Mrazek is flip-flop.
Yeah, he was
all over the place.
I think that also had something to do with him kind of getting back into the feel of things. He was definitely almost lucky on some occasions, but it doesn't matter what he's like you said, you got to get him in there. You got to get Jack Campbell some rest. So, like, you got to roll with it, whatever.
How concerned are you about the defense core?
I'm very concerned.
Specifically the second pair.
That weird pause I just took like 30 seconds ago. I was going to transition into this, and then I was like, I
beat you to it.
Maybe I should finish that thought on Petr Mrazek before I just jump topics. But one thing this losing streak has pointed out is we know they're not good enough.
They're not good enough. They're not good enough.
They can play well defensively, but
what has happened to Justin Holl? Like, I do think Justin Holl played a little better than what he actually
is
last
against the crap division, against the same teams over and over. And I have never been a Justin Holl guy. Never.
That is true. Check the tape. That is true. That is true.
He's a mediocre defenseman who, through an awful division in the most boring, mind-numbing, hit me over the head with a shovel hockey I've ever watched in my entire life, aka the Canadian division. I'm not surprised at all. And I'm also not surprised that Jake Muzzin has lost his step. And I don't know what he does. Like, I know he lays the odd hit, and people are like, oh, he's a big rough and tumble physical guy that they have back there. I don't think he's that. I don't think he's that at all.
Listen,
He can't move the puck. He can't pinch properly.
Hold on. Here's what I'll say. I do not think Jake Muzzin has had a great season. I don't. However, his partner has been horrendous since from the word go this year.
Yeah.
And there were a couple shifts over the last week where Keefe gave Liljegren a look up there with Muzzin, and I thought there was a noticeable difference. I do think there is part of Muzzin who is overcompensating a little bit for his terrible defense partner. That's what I think. Because when he had Liljegren with him, and I'm not saying Timothy Liljegren's the answer. He's not. You're not winning anything with Justin Holl or Timothy Liljegren in your top 4. You're not. No offense, Liljegren. But
yeah,
I did notice a change in Muzzin's game. This is going to be really interesting to watch because Kyle Dubas got burned last year making a deadline acquisition for Nick Foligno.
Yeah.
And it's very clear to me, like they have other needs. Like I'd love another guy on the left
there's
wing.
no other need.
There's
none.
The most important, glaring, desperate need is they need another top 4 defenseman.
If I have to hear one more time that they need a left winger, no, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't need another left winger. They need 2 defensemen, not 1, 2.
Yeah.
You know what they have to give up to get those defensemen? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So they're screwed. I don't know what he's gonna do. Kyle Dubas has to make an Alex Anthopoulos-like decision right now.
And yes, he does.
That's
a great analogy.
I am not
great comparison.
I'm getting fired if I don't succeed.
Yeah.
Why should he care what the team's gonna look like in 5 years? If he's got to unload what he's got to unload, and to be fair to him, Auston Matthews' contract is going to run out. Everyone's contract's going to run out. They have to re-sign everybody. Jack Hamill's going to be gone. You don't know what the future is going to hold. So while you have the best players that you're going to have in your franchise in a very long time, you might as well just go for it.
Would you consider, and again, I don't know if anyone would take him now, given the fact that he's been hurt, but would you consider moving a Nick Robertson?
Yes.
To get a top 4 defenseman to play right now? Yeah.
100%. Wouldn't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
See you later. What is he doing for them right now?
He's hurt. He's been hurt for a while.
Yeah, but even if he wasn't, would he be up playing?
No.
Because he's not. They're not going to put him in the bottom 6. I've already said this before. There's no point in bringing up a guy who you see as a top 6 player and play him in your bottom 6. And then eventually that weird hockey thing happens where a guy with skill just starts playing like he has none when he's in a bottom 6. I like Nick Robertson. I love the idea of having guys in your system who can come up in the future and
be difference makers.
Be a difference maker, just like in baseball. Like, it's so important. But at this point, Dubas is screwed. This franchise is kind of screwed. I don't care about what happens in 5 years, to be honest with you. Like, this is what you have to work with right now. What are we in year 5, 6 of this? It's time to sell whatever you got to sell. Your job's on the line.
Yeah.
You might as well just throw the stick of dynamite and call it a day.
So he has traded away a lot of draft capital in his time here.
100%.
So you'd do it again if you were him.
Yeah, I would, because last year he got burned. But no,
we all love the move when he made it.
Like, me and you were on here being like, oh, it's just sick.
Yeah.
It's whatever. Whatever happened. I think they could have won that series without him, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They had that series won. It had nothing to do with that. Obviously, you want him to play more, but it's just, if you're not trying to make this team better this year, then, like, what are we doing? Like, who cares about what they're going to look like in 5 years? They're going to be garbage again, and we're going to hate them all over again. So let's just go for it now. And you got to just sell whatever you need to sell. I don't care how it looks, how it feels. Just make sure whatever you're getting back is something that you're going to need. And who's going to help.
2 more questions for you before we get out of here. Talk to me about the 2nd-ranked power play in the National Hockey League.
Mitch Marner's not on it anymore.
That's an interesting answer because that will help me segue into my second point, but continue.
He's useless on the power play. Can't shoot, predictable, can't stand in front of the net to tip pucks in. just a guy who completely overthinks the entire process of a power play, in my opinion. If you can't shoot the puck, then you can't be in a prominent wing position. That's why Willie and Auston on those two sides, or even putting Spets on a side, works, because all those guys are a threat to blast the puck.
And then you got Johnny and or Kasha.
Yeah, Johnny.
I'm loving Kasha on PP.
I'm loving Kasha all over the ice.
Yes,
on 5-on-5 everything. What a find.
Yes.
We'll stick on the power play here, but I just think Mitch Marner is not a fit on that power play. And I know that might be an answer that's like just the go-to answer.
Well, there's been all these rumors.
Dude, we've been talking about this for a long time, man.
Yeah, we have been talking about this for a long time, and they're back to being ranked second in the league.
What has Willie scored? Like 3 goals shooting off his side?
Yeah.
And everyone's always focused on Matthews. You put Willie on the other side, the guy can shoot the puck. He can score. So I think Marner not taking up a prominent position. I wish Marner could be like Riley almost, but even Morgan Riley is doing such a better job. Like, this guy's racking up assists because he's finally understanding that you need to just put the puck on net and let people hit the rebounds in instead of missing the net and going back for an odd man rush on a penalty kill.
Oh my God. I love Morgan Riley as a guy, and he is one of their most important core pieces, but my God, does that guy love to miss the net.
Oh,
holy. So you're attributing the Leafs' success on the power play to no Marner.
Yeah.
So what if I see that and I raise you a penalty kill that has fallen down in the rankings because it misses Mitch Marner?
I'd raise you 5-on-5 too.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just a penalty kill. I think it's 5-on-5 as well.
How do you think the loss of Mitch Marner has impacted Auston Matthews?
5-on-5? That's a good question, because he's on fire right now. Like, he's scoring a goal a game. I think I see Auston Matthews actually working harder on the ice without Marner, because I think Marner is actually pretty underrated when it comes to getting back and being in position in his own end. I know he's not always physically ready for any physical situation, but he's pretty good at getting back. I see Matthews working harder 5-on-5, but in terms of scoring goals right now, I think Michael Bunting is doing an amazing job having chemistry with him.
Another guy, what a find.
Yeah. We got to give Kyle Dubas some credit here.
So this is what, I don't want to get too far off, but like, I was talking about this with someone today, and I was saying, I'm not as, like, I don't really look at, like, because we were talking about, if they get eliminated in the first round, is Dubas going to get fired? Like what you just said. And probably, but I'm also at a point where I'm like, this guy's done all he can do. Like, he went out and he got Cash as a great find. Bunting's a great find.
David Camp's a great find. And we were all making fun of him, calling him like, who the hell's this guy?
Yeah, Camp's a great find. Nick Ritchie's had his struggles, but whatever. Like, you could make the argument that they overpaid Mrazek, but he's had some injury troubles, and the idea was for it to be a tandem with Campbell. So if they don't have playoff success, it's going to be on the big guys, right? It's not going to be, he's done all he can do. I don't think he deserves to get fired. Like, I've changed my mind on that. I really have. Speaking of the big guys, I want to go back to Auston Matthews really quick. Have we tried to fit this square peg into a round hole with Auston Matthews?
What do you mean?
I do think that I heard a conversation on the radio last week, and I've gone on in the past on here, and I said, I really want to watch Matthews like dominate the play. Like, but he's not that type of hockey player. He is one of, if not the most gifted goal scorer we've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's not Connor McDavid. You're not going to see him take the puck in the defensive zone, skate through the entire team.
No.
So I think there is everyone wants Matthews to go to this like level where he dominates scoring goals, which is,
I think Auston Matthews.
Do you know what I'm saying? Am I making sense with what I'm saying?
We've had this conversation before where it's like he's compared to McDavid, but there is a pretty big difference from watching the two guys play. But I honestly think that's starting to fade a little bit. I think he is dominating play on the ice. He might not have. No one has that McDavid ability. Like maybe like McKinnon or a couple other dudes who are fast, where you literally go end to end and just it's ridiculous. But I think when Matthews is line is on the ice. Like, I think he is dominating the play. I think he's on fire right now.
Yeah. Well, he is.
Like,
He's
all of a
scoring.
sudden,
he's back in
he's
the
gonna
Rocket
pass
League.
Draisaitl.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, he could not score if he tried.
Yeah.
Like, he's scoring a goal a game at this point.
Yep.
And it's coming like almost easy to him. The puck finds him. I just
It goes to show how silly, like we talked about his interaction with Gord Miller last week. It goes to show like how silly like the media is in this, like it's God, like that narrative for weeks about, oh, he's not scoring 5-on-5.
Oh,
he's
dude,
not
this
scoring
guy-
5-on-5. It's like, just, oh God.
respect to Ovi, because Ovi is going to do something that may not seem possible at any point and break that goal record unless something catastrophic happens. But Auston Matthews is the best goal scorer in the NHL.
Yeah.
Like, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, in all areas.
He could go down as one of the best goal scorers
if he
ever.
stays healthy,
Yeah.
like, he'll have a hard time getting up there with Ovi because he won't have, well, maybe he will, but Ovi had like the 60 goal and like he was in the 50s a couple times. But man, Auston Matthews, dude.
Yeah, I know. He's unbelievable.
Yeah. Like, I think he is crossing that threshold of being like a guy who does dominate the puck when he's on the ice.
Do you think he misses Mitch Marner?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Like, I think the whole team misses
Yeah.
Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner's a big part of this team, and not just offensively, but also defensively, even though sometimes he's soft, but he does work hard defensively. I don't think they miss him on the power play.
No.
But they do miss him on the penalty kill, and they do miss him on 5-on-5 for sure.
All right. Well, I think that'll do it for us this week. We got an interesting sort of twist to the Western road trip with the Calgary game getting canceled, but Edmonton Leafs is always marquee. It is pretty funny that the Oilers have dropped 5 in a row.
I mean, it's got a little less excitement around it because they've lost 5 in a row.
And the Leafs have
come
back to earth a little bit.
It's funny how both these teams are doing the same thing.
Dude, they're mirror images of
and
each
getting
other.
the same results.
Yeah,
I actually think the Oilers have it a little bit worse than the Leafs because of the lack of goaltending. Like, Mikko Koskinen sucks.
yeah, he does.
Like, he sucks, man. He's got like 3 goals against average. He's brutal.
Yep.
And it's funny how the same thing just comes around and around for both these franchises. Not enough depth for the Oilers, not good enough D, no goaltending. The Leafs just turnovers, can't keep the puck out of their net.
Yep.
And it's ugh.
All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this week. Thanks so much for checking us out. If you like what you see, hit that like and subscribe button below. Also, if you don't already, head on over to our Instagram at Talkin' Buds Podcast and give us a follow there. Spread the word. Tell your friends. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next week after the Western road trip.